Listen, I'm going to be honest. The old agency model is dead. Okay. So a lot of people that are getting into SMMA, a lot of people that are getting into this agency model that we're basically running into 2026, run into a bunch of different problems. And here are some solutions that you can take into consideration if you're developing an SMMA going into 2026, and probably some interesting points that you haven't thought of before. So the main thing with SMMA in the past, especially within the past 3 to 5 years, was that SMMAs would solve one problem. They would probably leverage media buyers, being people that they can actually have creatives developing content for themselves, or whatever it is that they were doing, specifically like ad creatives or website templates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And more often than not, every agency was the same. Like, you literally get pitched by these people if you're a business owner. And if you're a business owner and you're watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're an SMMA agency owner, or potentially somebody who wants to develop one, this is something you want to avoid. You would solve one problem. You would have these media buyers that you would get on Upwork or Fiverr or whoever it is that literally was in your residing area. And you'd basically pitch the same thing to these people. Like, I'll make this for you for a certain amount of month. I'll make this for you for a certain amount every single month. I'll do this sort of websites and like develop these for you on a consistent basis. I'll put you on a subscription basis, so that way like I can continuously making money off you, this, that, and whatever. And more often than not, this solved a lot of problems for a lot of different people. However, what's happening now is the advent of speed. Like, the fastest people are the people who are going to succeed the most in anything, like with literally anything, especially with SMMA overall. And how is that happening? With obviously the upbringing of AI tools up the wazoo. Literally, there's an AI for everything. And AI tools have literally broken the market as far as how are we going to deliver our service as SMMA owners to business owners overall, or people who have a product or e-commerce or whatever it is. So with the advent of AI tools, like for example, like developing creatives, like such, before we were literally buying people and their time to make these types of content or intellectual property for our ads or for our organic content. We can use ChatGPT. We can use Claude. For copywriting. We can use Canva in order to develop templates, in order to make creative for other people. We could use a lot of different AI tools in order to generate ads with just AI overall. And we're actually implementing this into our business as of right now, because a lot of the creative was done by me, right? So main thing was just the creative alone, like you can now make it all with AI prompts, which is kind of crazy. Because the thing is that now not only can the creative be outsourced via your own prompting, right, with these AI avatars or AI intellectual property creators, like Artlist, for example, is a really great example, or like Google VO3, or like even Sora, you know what I'm saying? Then now you can just basically take away all the people that were essentially taking the money from you as the SMMA owner, and just leverage that towards other marketing efforts, being like your own ad creatives or your own ad campaigns or your own organic content campaigns and whatnot. And what does this mean? Because you have all these AI tools, right? You start to become of a full stack or mobile marketing department for a specific business, right? So what does that mean? You're adding costs to softwares and services that you're essentially adding to your business that you didn't have before, especially pivoting to a sense in that, like, for example, with organic content services, if you're not adding like an AI automation, like keyword automation towards your business overall, like you're missing out, because a lot of people are using ManyChat. A lot of people are using Go High Level. A lot of people are using things like appointment setting if you're on the ad development software service provider, being AppointWise, AI callers, AI automations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that you eventually become the fulcrum or the leverage for a business provider, which is kind of crazy, right? Like, it's like before you'd have to work on one specific problem, being like, I'm generating content, I'm making websites, I'm making ads, like this sort of third, this, that, and the third. And then on top of that, because of AI, now you've literally been able to take more of the responsibility at half the cost, right? So then that means you could genuinely, I'm talking like genuinely, just tell the business owner that you are worthy of the price of your service. So if you literally have like a product or a service that for your SMMA model for service-based businesses or for e-commerce or whatever it is, you can charge them $2,000, $3,000, no problem, a month, because of how much you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and you're not even responsible for that work, whether it be for the creative, whether it be for the appointment setting system, whether it be for the outreach system based upon their social media platforms, because social media is becoming like the biggest distribution channel literally on the planet. It's kind of crazy. So now what's happening is that you've become a full stack marketing department for these businesses. So now it's even more pain if they let you go and they go with somebody else, right? Which is to your advantage, SMMA owners. So then what are you going to do about it, right? So you need to know everything. Like, and I don't mean that in the sense of like, oh, you need to know how much it takes to boil water. Like, you don't need to know like science or anything like that. What more so, you need to know 3 things that are literally absolutely stupid important for SMMAs: how to make creative, business strategy and marketing, and data analysis. So let's start with the creative, right? Even if you're using AI to create the intellectual property for other businesses overall, my main thing is that you should know how to use a camera. You should know how to use the phone with the camera on the phone. You should be able to use a DSLR or a mirrorless camera if you're going about organic content, roughly, because this is kind of the notoriety that comes with SMMAs already on the organic content side. So you should know how to use that equipment to some degree, right? Same thing with ads. Like if you're making all your ads on your phone, that's cool. They'll probably do better because they do like organic content on ads overall, using that as the leverage for getting more clients. It works. However, if you're going to show up to a shoot with somebody who's expecting, like, obviously, like, you know, cinema grade cameras, you can't be showing up with your phone. You know what I'm saying? There's levels to it, right? So on the creative side, you have to know how to use a camera. Like, I don't care what it is, whether it be your phone, a DSLR, or a mirrorless camera, you have to use a camera to some degree, unless you're a website development agency. That's a completely different situation where you just literally do everything online. But even then, you still have to use Canva or Webflow or any of these other templates that are provided online, and how to mix and match them to make them custom to your client. That's number one. So the second thing is business strategy and marketing. You have to literally know everything about the businesses that you're operating with, especially when it comes to onboarding. Like, we are super, super, super anal, and I mean that, anal, about asking our clients questions about their business, their revenue, what is they believe in, what is their personal branding, like how are they as a person, what do they like to do on Sundays, like besides going to church, I don't know. But but the point still stands is that you have to know them like the back of your hand, so that way you can, to the best of your abilities, encapsulate who they are into their marketing campaigns, right? So then what does that mean? This is your onboarding process has to be super, super dialed in. Your any conversations that you have with your clients overall has to be super dialed in as well. It doesn't matter whether it's just the onboarding process and that's just the only version of or the only time in which that you speak to them. That shouldn't be the fact. Like, it should be on a consistent basis. You should develop multiple times throughout the month where you're talking to them on a consistent basis. You want to be making sure that you're getting every single thing dialed in to them specifically, right? It's customized to them, because if it's not, then you're basically sharing an idea of a business that has nothing to do with them. And that affects your marketing campaigns, whether it be on the ad side, whether it be on the organic content side, whether it be on the website side, right? So my main thing is the better that you get to know them, the better your marketing strategies will be for them, not for yourself, for them. Does that make sense? So if I were you, I would set up systems in order to get as much information that you can out of your client on the onboarding side. And on top of that, consistently talk to them maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks in the process that you're developing, depending on your service agreement. So that way you can get to know them as soon as possible, and it reflects in their marketing, and it'll always work because you're literally marketing them. Does that make sense? And the last thing is data analysis, right? So you have to be anal about what it is about their business that is working and what is not, and capitalize based off of the top 10, 25% of what's performing on the organic content side, on the ad side, on the website side. So let's say, for example, on the organic side, like the top 10% of content that is working, you're going to double down on that. On the top 10% of the ad campaigns that are working, you're going to double down on that, duplicate the campaign, and then put more money behind it. On the website side, it's just like people tend to go on this specific page more so than anything else. Then make sure that that is the pivot point for how you're making their website accessible to everybody else. So literally just analyzing everything that literally comes through to the audience, to the people who are watching whatever it is that they're developing, or whatever they're experiencing, I should say, whatever they're experiencing, and double down on that, right? Figuring out what works based upon the numbers that you get, whether it be on Meta, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on organic, on TikTok or Instagram, and seeing what works, and then applying what you found out to the changes that you provide to your service. And then explain that to your client. It's super simple. So out of all of this, what you're going to realize is that you are a branch of your client. Just like I mentioned before, because of the fact that you're learning all this stuff, because of the fact that you're getting all these AI tools, because of the fact that you're developing all this creative for people, you are becoming slowly but surely a branch of your client. So this comes with pros and cons, right? So the pro is that it's almost impossible for them to let you go, because then they basically have to find somebody else that does exactly the same thing, which is awesome. So then your churn goes down. However, that means it's also more actionable responsibility on your part. But if you set that up with AI, then you will never have an issue. I'm not saying let AI take over every single thing that you do, but the services that you aren't necessarily super keen about or super obsessed about, or the things that you just generally don't want to do, take that and deliver that to AI. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to do the copywriting, take it to AI. If you don't want to do the appoint setting system, take it to AI. Obviously, manage it with some sort of personal touch, and you just basically delegate that to somebody else. And obviously, that's taken into consideration with your hiring, which hopefully on this channel we'll literally talk about in the future. However, AI is not going away. It should improve your business, not make it your whole business, if that makes sense. Because you are a branch of your client, and they're never going to let you go if you do this effectively. So here's some actionable steps that I'm going to give to you that you can literally take today, so then you can make your SMMA 10 times better. First of all, your business, your SMMA, your agency should be AI driven, but not AI run. Okay? Because you still have to have the human in order to manage all the stuff all together. So if something fails on the AI side, you're there to pick it up, if that makes sense. Whether it be with the creative, whether it be the appointment setting system, whether it be with the customer support, etc. Not AI run, AI driven. Make sure you write that down. The second thing is have a very lean system. So what does that mean? So because you're adding AI, because you're AI driven and not AI run, that means less people you have to hire. You don't have to hire creatives or creative people in order to make the content for you or the intellectual property for you. You can make them yourself. And essentially, because the people don't know the fact that you're using AI in order to create these intellectual property for your website development agency, your organic content agency, or your AI ad-driven intellectual property agency, you don't have to hire so many people. So then therefore, it's to your advantage and less money on your end that you have to spend. So instead of spending like $2,000 for a videographer in order to figure this out, you can film all this stuff because you're learning how to make video. You can learn how to edit a piece of content. You can learn how to get AI to edit stuff for you. You can literally get a software for AI to analyze all the stuff that you're making for your clients, which is kind of crazy, right? So it literally adds up to a very lean system overall, which means more money in your pocket, meaning your profit margin goes up. Just make sure that you're managing it, okay? And the last one is the actionable step that more so will add to your benefit or to add to your agency overall will be being super niched. So what does that mean? So a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I just help fitness trainers all over the world, blah, 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 which is cool, but you can't service everybody, okay? And it's not like you're going to have every single fitness influencer on the planet literally knocking at your door. So I would say another great advent of adding all these AIs and also working with very few specific people at a high cost so you can make sure that your profit margin is high is making sure that these businesses are within your location, like literally the geographical area where you're operating. So let's say, for example, like you want to work with service-based businesses and helping them be a branch of their business with all this AI and all this agency stuff that you're doing, right? Which is cool. However, let's say if you just did that within the city that you live in. Like, for example, I have a really good friend who does this effectively in Virginia, right? Like, we do this around the country because we're obviously scaling, and that's the amazing thing about agency models, especially when you're getting a lot of notoriety. But let's say if we just literally selected this for the city of Miami. So we help service-based businesses in X niche in Miami, right? Which is cool. So then that means literally the percentage of service-based businesses within that specific niche in Miami are going to be attracted to us because they haven't utilized AI. They haven't utilized the fact that all this stuff is happening within online digital marketing, that now they have to find somebody. So then if we're the only option, and we do a great job, we do a kick-ass job, they're going to select us over everybody else, which I think is amazing. So I hope this video was valuable. Put a lot of information, literally going on for 17 minutes. But if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe because it actually helps out the channel so much. And plus, we put videos out like this every single week, and you don't want to miss them. Otherwise, if you're a business owner and you need help as far as figuring out your SMMA and figuring out how to get your first few clients in the next 90 days, click the first link in the description and we would love to help you out. Otherwise, I hope I'll see you in the next video. Peace.